Kyle Rittenhouse found not guilty on all charges. I want to give my synopsis on the trial and my insight or my point of view on what really went on with the trial. This guy was 17 at the time, accused of killing 2 people and shooting another in Kenosha, Wisconsin, last summer. Okay, so they said the jury deliberated for 25 hours over the course of 4 days. 5 felonies. But before we get into what type of person Kyle Rittenhouse is or how he think according to his social media and what people said about him, let's go to the history of Wisconsin, because all this is very important to get you in a mind frame of why he was found not guilty. Wisconsin had gained its statehood in May 1848. Primarily Republican through 1928, the state, like most, turned Democratic during the Great Depression and World War II. Now, before this, a lot of blacks was Republicans, right? Because when the Republican Party first was created, it was combated towards the Democratic Party, which the Democratic Party agreed with slavery, and the Republican Party was formed to combat slavery. There's one thing a Republican will always go back to. Oh, we supported black people and everything, but a lot of blacks was Republicans, and then something happened between the Great Depression and the 60s where blacks started to become Democrats. Okay, so most likely the Democrats won several elections from 1988 through 2012. Although the 2000 and 2004 race was extremely close, the streak was broken in 2016 when Donald Trump won the state by 0.7% over Hillary Clinton. The victory came despite the fact that of the dozen polls tracked in the months leading up to the election, not a single one had him winning here. Now, check this out. Now, the United States, before they allow a woman become president, a white woman become president, at that, they would rather vote in a person like Donald Trump, and they would rather vote in a person like Obama. Because you got to think about it. If white people, white supremacy or whatever, ruled this country from the time slavery started, from the time they got over here up until now, why does it take their women so long to become in power? Because their women has no rights. Their women, in their eyes, in white supremacy eyes, their women has no leadership, no rights, or whatever. They play the back road. They don't care about their women, really. That's how come it took them a long time to vote when it comes to even in their sexual life. They allow anything to happen to their women sexually because they don't care about that. All they care about is money, power, and domination. And by the way, Wisconsin was, I believe, was the decision factor in Trump becoming president. If you look, there are 10 electoral votes in Wisconsin. 10 electoral votes. That's a lot. Because most cities, urban cities, had maybe 1 or 2. But when you go into these rural countries, they have more electoral votes. Okay, so it's very important that these candidates go and campaign in these rural cities and states because they have more electoral votes, which I'll explain that in another video. And I also will explain about how Obama really became president as he claimed to be the first black president. Okay, let's move on. Kenosha shooting suspect fervently supported Blue Lives, joined local militia. Okay, you can look this up. You can Google him and what he has to do with. They say he was part of a police cadet program. He supported Blue Lives Matter. He was at Trump rallies at a very young age. He shot these people last year when he was 17. So this happened when he wasn't even 15 at the time, when he posed for the picture that remained for years on the Facebook page of a public safety cadet program in Chicago, far northern suburbs. And he's still a little younger than his actual age this week when the 17-year-old from Adirondacks, Illinois, was arrested in connection with 2 fatal shootings in Kenosha, Wisconsin. Okay. And you can read this. This is that's why it's important to do your research and get your information from a well-known news source. Let's look up the word fervently. Verbally, very enthusiastically or passionately. So he was real excited to be a police, and he looked forward to being a police, walking around with the machine gun. He was part of the Blue Lives Matter. He supported the Blue Lives Matter, which is the nemesis of Black Lives Matter, and this is his mindset. Trump supporter. He believed all these things about, fully understood what Trump was about, what the militia group was about, and all this racial tension that was building up over the years raised people like Kyle to become who they are, and all these malicious groups that you see. What we see is not even a tip of the iceberg of what we don't see. Okay, so you have these malicious groups that's coming to these protesters armed, and they saying they have a right to arm themselves, and they're using the Constitution to carry out the laws of them having their weapons and being at these protesters. That lets you know it's really a dangerous game. That's what's going on in America. Okay, this is from BuzzFeed.news. Kenosha shooting suspect was in the front row of a Trump rally in January. Okay, Kyle Rittenhouse social media is filled with reference to Blue Lives Matter. A Trump campaign spokesperson said this individual had nothing to do with our campaign, which of course he don't. He's a kid. He don't have anything to do with the campaign, but he definitely a supporter. Okay, law enforcement obsessed 17-year-old who was charged with shooting and killing 2 people and injuring another one in Kenosha, Wisconsin, during protests for Jacob Blake, appeared in the front row at a Donald Trump rally in January. Okay, his social media is filled with posing with weapons, Blue Lives Matter, supporting Trump for president, and this is his TikTok, showing him taking pictures this is TikTok name, taking pictures from the side where Donald Trump spoke at a rally. 7 months later, Rittenhouse went with his rifle to the 3rd night of Black Lives Matter protests in Kenosha after police shot Blake, a black man who was now paralyzed as a result, according to his family. So they was, Black Lives Matter went in support of Jacob Blake for getting shot by the police several times. And then you had the Blue Lives Matter people, you had the militias, local militia groups, in countering Black Lives Matter in support of the police. So you have a division there. It's somewhat of a civil war. That's what's going on when you had 2 opposing groups of people fighting within the same country, which that was created, to start a civil war. Okay. There you go again, posing with his weapon. I'm going to read something about the program, the Public Safety Cadet Program. Along with the page describing the Public Safety Cadet Program, the organization's official Facebook account was deleted after images from 2018 of a boy in a police uniform identified as Kyle began to circulate online. BuzzFeed News has not been able to confirm that the boy in the image is Rittenhouse. So they took some stuff down off their website. That way you won't hold this stuff, gather all this information, and bring it up in court to give you to let you know what type of mindset that Cal had going into protesting and going to these rallies. And Trump defends Kenosha shooting suspect. Okay. He declined to condemn the action of the 17-year-old suspect. And read a quote of what Trump said. He was trying to get away from them, I guess it looks like, Trump said, noting the incident was under investigation. I guess he was in very big trouble. He probably would have been killed. Now, if Donald Trump is giving this young kid a stamp of approval, that means that everybody that support Donald Trump going to rally to this young boy's aid. Now, he don't come from money, okay? And he lived with his mother, and his father lived in Kenosha, Wisconsin. So the parents is already separated. He was going to visit his father where all this stuff was going on. That's why he was saying my community and everything. So Trump giving this guy a stamp of approval, which meaning, like I said, you want to have a lot of police officers supporting him. You want to have a lot of political people supporting him. Okay, and they're going to come to his aid. They're going to make sure they're going to do whatever they can within their power to help this kid get off. So I hope you're starting to see the picture that I'm painting for you guys, why he was found not guilty. This defense team, the defense fund, they raised over $500,000. $500,000 in support of his defense team. This is an article from Forbes magazine. Top line. Kyle Rittenhouse, the teenager charged with killing 2 people and wounding a third during racial justice unrest in Wisconsin last year, is continuing to rack a massive amount of donation ahead of his November trial, according to a legal defense fund associated with family, which said Monday it had raised nearly $500,000 in the past 3 months. $500,000 in the past 3 months. There's other articles out there that say that they raised over $2 million for his defense. Okay? Over $2 million. A post on Free Cal USA, a social media account linked to the defense fund run by the teen's mother, Wendy Rittenhouse, says the 2 different fundraising entities she coordinates had pulled in $464,111 since March 1st. That's a lot of money. They want this man off. They want to give him the best defense team. They want the best defense team money can buy. And they want to get him off. It's like basically by Kyle Rittenhouse being locked up, according to their malicious group mindset, he's behind enemy lines, and we need to get him out. We need to get him free. by any means, you know. And with the Capitol riots that happened earlier, prior to this, and how that went down, this is another reason I believe they had to let this guy go. If they would have locked him up, it would have caused more damage on American soil by keeping him locked up than freeing him. Freeing him, you might have a protest here and there, which I doubt it's going to be like a strong protest, because we're talking about these are white victims, right? Not black victims. So this is basically like a white-on-white crime. So keeping him locked up and having all these malicious groups raising all his money, his mother raising his money, he had political support, that would have caused more of a riot keeping him locked up than it would letting him go. Okay, so like I said, this is another article just to show you how much money that he had raised, that his mother had raised with the help of and support of other people. Over $500,000. And like I said, other articles showing that he raised over $2 million. So there's no way they would have allowed this young teenager to be locked up or to be punished for what he's done, especially if they're talking about self-defense. There's no way. They would have had more problems keeping him locked up. So they had to let him go, you know. Here's another article from The Guardian showing you who really supported him, who donated to Kyle Rittenhouse. U.S. police, public officials, you know, the data was breached, and it revealed some things. Among the donors were several associated with emails addresses traceable to police and other police officials. Now, you're talking about the people that supporting him. These are law officials, public officials. They have their hands deep in the justice system. Okay? Whereas though they can influence this judge to think one way and make it happen within the legal system. And from what I heard, I know they dropped the weapon charge against him to make it more easier, because anybody know that if you're walking around with a weapon that's not registered to you and you currently illegally, you getting 5 years off the top. So they had to drop that weapon charge so he won't do no crime. It was already set up for him to be found not guilty. This is from the New York Times. Who's who in the Kyle Rittenhouse trial? Now, it talks about who's the judge, the defendant, the judge, the prosecutor, the defense team, okay? Mr. Binger has been a prosecutor in the county for 7 years. Before that, he was a lawyer in private practice, and earlier in his career was assistant district attorney in Milwaukee County. Okay, check this out. He had clashed with Judge Stroderer several times during pre-trial hearing in the Rittenhouse case. So he already clashing with the judge, meaning that the judge don't see you in a favorable position. So whatever you bring to his attention, he's going to shoot it down. And we saw that throughout the trial. The prosecutor had no chance in hell with that judge. And I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna play a clip of him even clashing with his own partner in this case, which is crazy. So basically, the prosecutor seemed like he was sabotaging the state case so he can be free, so he could be let go, so he could be found not guilty. Here's what I want to point out about the judge. Okay? Look at the third point. I'm going to read it. Because self-defense is an issue at the trial, Judge Stroder has ordered the term victim cannot be used to refer to the people who were shot. They will be called routers and looters only if it is established in court that they were routing or looting, he said. Now, this is how powerful words are. If you name calling and placing labels on people can persuade a juror to see things differently. Now, I'm gonna give you an example of image is everything, wording is everything. If you go to court and dressed up in Orange County or the blues with just shackles on your hand and on your feet, chained around your waist, and you're trying to plead your case, in their subconscious mind of a jury mind, you're already guilty based on how they see you. If you're coming in with a clean cut, with a suit on, and you're looking sad and you're trying to cry on the stand, you're going to have some jurors that are going to sympathize with you. Now, he said, don't call them victims, because if you call the shooters victim, therefore, you're going to have somebody going to sympathize with them. They're going to sympathize with a person being a victim, whether they can relate to what happened to them or not. Just the word victim alone can have people sympathize with you. That's how people play the victim. You know, if you play a looter or a rider, that means you're doing something bad. You're doing something that you wasn't supposed to be doing. This is what the judge did. So they're setting it up for it to be a not guilty verdict. You got to pay attention. Now, let's talk about jury selection, okay? Both the defense and the prosecutor participate with the help of their client in selecting who's going to be on the juries, therefore, to help their case, okay? Now, let's look at this. Okay, the phrase a jury of peers dates back to the signing of Magna Carta in England. At that point, the provision ensured that members of the nobility were tried by a jury comprised of fellow nobles rather than being judged by the king. Now, I'm gonna show you. I'm going to play a clip of a mountain man who's claimed him being a natural person. He's not a citizen. He's a natural person, and he going against the judge. And you listen to what he's saying when he brought in his own jury of his peers, because that's who's gonna decide your fate, is the jury of your peers. Okay. Before we get into that, I want to read this paragraph. The prosecutor and defense attorney may then object to the inclusion of certain jurors. Attorneys have two types of objections to potential jurors: challenges for cause and preemptory challenges. While attorneys may have a legitimate reason to exclude a juror when making a challenge for cause, they typically don't need to give reason for preemptory challenges. Now, preemptory challenges is very important. They can ask you questions. For instance, like if a person that's on trial for selling drugs, and then I have a juror, I start asking questions. How do you feel about people selling drugs in your neighborhood? That potential juror might say, well, if he got to feed his family, it is what it is. You know, I ain't knocking his hustle. You know, that prosecutor would not choose that juror, because in their mind, this potential juror gonna let this person go because he don't see nothing wrong with selling drugs. You see what I'm saying? So reason why I'm saying this is because when they start questioning these jurors, they want to select people of his peers, meaning that people that think just like him. They are Trump supporters. They are Blue Lives Matter. What you think about Blue Lives Matter? Oh, I think it's a great thing. They should not defund the police. Okay, we need her, or we need him. Or what you think about Blue Lives Matter? I don't care nothing for them. I think Black Lives Matter more than Blue Lives Matter. Okay, we can't get them because we already know based off Kyle. I just show you how Kyle Rittenhouse, his mindset is and who he support Donald Trump and everything. So they're gonna want people of his peers who think like him, who act like him. They're gonna have a high chance of letting him go. We cannot let this young guy ruin his life. We cannot be the deciding factor of letting this guy go to jail and ruin his life. He's 17 years old. He's 18 years old. Yes, I believe he learned his lesson. We need to let him go so he can continue living his life. Okay? And you think about all this based on what the judge was saying, how they want the jurors to look at the people that he shot. Okay? He's a hero in the Trump supporter community. This young boy is a hero. So there's no way they're going to allow their hero to be locked up. There's no way they're going to allow their hero like Superman. You think they're going to allow their Superman to be locked up? You think they're going to allow Aquaman to be locked up? We're talking about a hero. This is a win. This is a victory for them. You know, yeah, he should have killed more. They were trying to kill him. You know, so that's something you got to think about. Let's look at what do preemptory challenges mean. A preemptory challenge also allows attorney to veto a potential juror on a hunch. Just on a hunch. I'm not feeling him. Nah, I like that person. Yeah, get him on. The idea behind a preemptory challenges is that if both parties had contributed in the configuration of the jury, they will find its verdict more acceptable. Meaning that if they did all their jury process and they went along with and they found the 12 people that's most likely were in the favorable of the defense or in favorable of the prosecutor, long as they both decided on these 12 people, these 12 jurors, then okay, I gotta go with the not guilty verdict. I can't detest because I was part of the process of choosing who gonna be on this on the jury selection team or whatever. You know, he can't object to the not guilty verdict. The prosecutor can't, or the defense team cannot object to the guilty verdict if it was one, because they both participated in the selection of the jury.
Each charge, $500 fine up to 6 months in jail.
I do not understand any charges. I only understand universal law and the right to live in peace and live as I need to.
But not guilty in this.
I never believe animals bleed. So like that, point blank.
I have a paper with your signature on it.
It says prime evidence that you got through it. You bring forward all natural forms of evidence that I'm not prime. I am the living soil. The dirt, the water, and the air has its own voice, does it not? They all support forms of life, does it not? I am a part of that life. I am not your corporate fiction.
Sir,
you're not dangerous.
You're here today on an omnibus hearing.
I am here by special visitation to see to it that you do not injure my natural living man's name. That's why.
Tell the court if you wish to go to trial on this matter.
This is a trial. You cannot produce a jury of my peers all juries are selected from a pool of registered voters, and instead a person registers to vote, their natural ability is appear to comprehend natural law has been dissolved and turned into fiction. There cannot be raised a jury of my view. It cannot be done.
Excuse me for just a moment.
No way. Get back here and finish this. Hey, get back here and finish this. The judge has left the courtroom. There you go.
Yeah.
There is nobody in this courtroom. The judge has walked out. I said no excuse.
Up and out.
You hear them saying case dismissed? Because basically the judge abandoned ship. So if there's no judge in court, there's no one to prosecute him. So therefore, it has to be dismissed. Here's a clip of the prosecutor and assistant prosecutor in the Kyle Rittenhouse case. Are they trying to sabotage the case? You know, because the world is a stage, and they are performing in front of the world. Drama drives the story. If a story is 100% good and nothing bad happened, it would be boring. If the story is 100% bad and nothing good happened, it would be boring. So they had the mix. If you look at the word drama, you have comedy and you have sadness, happiness and sadness. And you had the two opposites performing on the same stage. That would drive the story. That would keep you engaged, because this dude is getting away with too much. Something bad gonna happen to him. That would drive the story. And then right now, what they're doing with this high profile case, they are playing their role. They are performing in front of the world. Listen to what he say. Listen to what he say about his lead prosecutor, about the lead prosecutor.
The email from my personal Gmail account is the file that went to the state crime lab. I was told to state crime lab. I was already home on Saturday. I did not have access to anything but my computer. I had Detective Howard email it to me, and I put it on a thumb drive at home, and I took it to the crime lab. I don't know if Mr. Binger somehow retitled it, but the image I gave the crime lab is on my phone. The title that she emailed. The email.
Now you can see Berner in the back shaking his head as if he disagreed with what his partner is saying about him. Now that shows conflict within the team. You know, are they really conflicting? Because, you know, the prosecutor, the DA, and the judge, they all work together to, if you know anything about the court system, it's all about fines, finding people, getting the money out the public, to send it back to England, to send it back to Great Britain or whatever, to send it back to the Queen, because we're still under the ruling of the Queen. Okay, that's how come we have a government, a board, a selected board, like a company. America is a corporation. That's another story, but just to give you an idea on what's going on, how they plan their position on this stage that we call the world. Okay, let's do a recap. I'd show you Kyle Rittenhouse, his tweets, his mind state, him joining the police cadet program, how he wanted to become an officer, him joining the militia group in Wisconsin, him being a supporter of Blue Lives Matter, Trump giving him the stamp that he's innocent. How much money his mother raised for his defense, well over $500,000. and some websites reported that it was $2 million total or more. He is known as a hero to Blue Lives Matter, to the police department. If you look online, you see police chiefs and other law enforcement supporting him, telling him to keep his head up. They're cheering him on. We here for you, or whatever. There's no way that they would allow this young guy, young killer or murderer, whatever you want to call him. There's no way they're going to allow their hero to be confined to a prison cell. There's no way. Because think about this. If you look at the long term, the drama unfold in front of us. And then, the Justice Department, which justice is blind. That's why she wear blindfold, because, she sees certain things and certain things she don't see. Now, they're not going to allow this guy to go to jail, because look at the riots that happened on the Capitol steps. They never forgave the public for that. So any person in support of Trump, of that MAGA support, and they're not going to go to jail, because you think the Capitol riot was terrible, right? That was a taste. So imagine if they would have found him guilty. What would have went on? Now, what you see, this malicious group, what you see at these protesters, it's the tip of the iceberg. That's not, imagine what you don't see. Just like an iceberg, whatever you see on the top of the water is 10 times smaller than what's underneath the water. Okay? So what is hidden is 10 times greater than what we see. So therefore, it would have been more killings. Trust me. America is in a civil war as we speak. With all this protesting, with all this police killing and everything, they want to create a civil war so martial law could come about. But there's no way. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know. Do your research. I had some links in the bio, in the description. That way you can follow, or just do your own research. It don't take much to research what's really going on with this case. This is a great example on white crime. That's why it's not going to be no riots too much in the streets or anything like that. This is white on white crime, white privilege, and basically it show you the mindset, which blacks really know already, the mindset of the court system and everything. We've been experiencing this throughout slavery. And that's all this is. This court system is an extension from slavery. But you see firsthand when it's somebody that's on their team, somebody that's behind enemy lines. Kyle Rittenhouse is a POW, and they had to go get him through financing his defense team, through putting the lawyers in place, to putting a judge in place. Anybody that has money, that has a paid lawyer, know that lawyer going to delay your case until he find the right judge that's going to rule in his favor. Any paid lawyer, when you get a public defender, he's going to be against anybody, and he's trying to make a name for himself, so he's not going to go against the judge, he's not going to go against the system. He's going to play along with the system. But when you get a paid lawyer, you will have a better chance to be found not guilty or be released from your charges. And this guy had over $500,000 for his defense team. That money is going to somebody to get him off. So it was bound that he's not to be found guilty. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you guys think. That's my take, my insight on the Kyle Rittenhouse case of him being found not guilty.